Hi, everybody. For those I don't know, I'm Sherry Sklar. I'm with HBS Women Association. It is so great to have you here. We have a great show today. We're going to just give it a couple of minutes before everybody, so we can get everybody in. How many? We had like what, 80 some odd, 81 or 87 people. Susan, hi. Gosh, I'm recognizing names. Great to have everybody. Mhm. So we're going to give it just a couple of minutes and one more minute, I would say, and then we can get started. All right. You are in the right place if you're here for the AI ladder. Happy December 16th. Hard to believe. It's Christmas, holidays, Hanukkah. All right. All right.
Yep.
I'm going to start. I'm going to
Let's go, and I'll just keep letting people in.
Great. That's awesome. Welcome, everybody. For those of you who I don't know, I'm Sherry Sklar. I am with HBS Women Association. We are the only alumni association for women, and it is an amazing organization. I know because I'm on the board, but I've been very active in the organization for a while, and I encourage those of you who are not part of it to join. It is so much. It's rich. It's rich with, enrichment, learning, camaraderie, networking, fantastic. Oh, and look, we have a whole bunch of upcoming events that you can look forward to in the next coming weeks. And they're all really high quality. So just take a look at all of this. There's roundtables, there's signature series, which is, people actually doing an event like this one, which is very focused on a particular topic. The roundtables are fantastic. If you haven't experienced it, they're amazing for working mothers, leadership, women in consulting, less stress, more flow. I love that one. Career transitions, future of food. I've participated in most of these, and I can tell you they're a lot of fun, and you get a lot out of it. Um, we are also seeking hosts. All right. So I'm noticing little things on this presentation. So please connect with us. We would love to have you volunteer and help us out. All right, let's go back to the topic at hand, AI ladder from the first steps to full transformation. Let me just first ask you guys to mute yourself if you can, rename yourself. I didn't do it myself, but basically you can go to the upper right hand and you can see there's three little dots and you can rename yourself and put your MBA or your class designation. That would be really great so everybody could see. People like to see which class everybody's from. And familiarize yourself with the chat function. We will be taking Q&A throughout the whole presentation, and Nellie will also have some Q&A at the end. We ask you to follow the values and learning culture that we have put down there below on this presentation. And that makes it so nice for everybody. All right. Without further ado, let me just kick this off and introduce Nellie, who's our main speaker for today. And also, before we get going, happy holidays, everybody. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy holidays for everybody. Okay, Nellie. Nellie is just somebody who's an amazing person I have come to know. I have gone to her classes in the past, and they are truly fantastic. So you guys are in for a treat. Nellie is a CTO, Chief Technology Officer, startup tech advisor, speaker, entrepreneur. Her mission is to make technology as easily understandable as she can for you and to fast track your success. So, if you're an entrepreneur or you're someone who needs to figure out how to leverage technology in your organization or lead a tech team or figure out how to create a tech product, and even if you have zero tech skills right now, Nellie is amazing. With more than 18 years experience leading companies for technical excellence, she is a highly sought after CTO and startup tech advisor. She is also the creator of Tech Speak for Entrepreneurs, a knowledge and coaching resource designed to help founders minimize technology mistakes and cut their product development costs by as much as 50%. Nellie also serves as co-founder and CTO of Wellbeing Incorporated, where she and her team are committed to building a healthier workforce through an evidence-based approach to mental health support, fostering connection, and lowering employee stress and burnout. She's managed tech teams and projects for over 20 years and taught her tech speak 10-step process to over 1,500 entrepreneurs, worked and mentored hundreds of startups through organizations like Techstars, Founder Institute, Start Out, Weave Acceleration, Digital Undivided, and more, helping entrepreneurs with tech strategies and fix and optimize their process. She's been included on many lists of transformative women in tech, including Fast Company's League of Extraordinary Women and Wall Street Journal's Women on the IT Fast Tracks. So, welcome, Nellie. We're so excited to have you. Before we get started, Nellie, I was hoping we could just pop up a I wanted everybody to see that Nellie is also hosting a 6-week class starting on January 19th. And all of us in HBS Women, we get a discount. You can get a $100 discount off this class. It's a 6-week class. I am personally taking it myself. I feel like I need it in my business. And I really have always wanted to understand how to automate agents, and I don't want to have to figure it out by myself. And I think you all should check into this. Also, Nellie kindly has offered to donate a portion of the proceeds back to HBS Women, and we are so grateful for that. So check this out, January 19th. I think Nellie will talk about it some more, but I just thought I'd highlight that. So Nellie, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you for such an amazing introduction, Sherry. I think we've known each other for like 20 years now.
Yeah, must be. And
You
I've taken
attended
your
one of the
class and
very
it's
first,
so good. It's so
very
good.
first Tech Speak. So great to you again. I'm going to share my screen and we will get started with AI ladder from first steps to full transformation. And then I will talk a little bit more about the training if, for those of you who are interested. But today is all about AI. I'm sure all of you have heard of AI nonstop now. Everybody's talking about like automating your business, scaling with fewer people, building agents that will completely get rid of all the humans and do all the work for us, right? It sounds amazing for a lot of us who are like whose to-do list is like this long and it never ends, right? What if we can get AI agents to do some of that work for you? And if you're thinking, should I be doing this too? What's the best way for me to get started? Then you are in the right place today because that's what we're going to break down for the next hour. I will be sharing to do with you today the 5 rungs of the AI ladder, which is a framework that I've developed to help people really understand how to use AI strategically. We'll start with prompts, GPTs, and then go all the way up to agents and software. And we'll see how all of these things kind of tie together to help you solve the problems that you need to solve in your business, in your personal life, in your professional life, in whatever it is that you're doing, even volunteer events that you're doing for your kids, etc. There's so much that you can automate. This is also about how to identify high impact work so that you can only focus on the things that matter and outsource the things that don't. So for a lot of us, we'll get started with just kind of a quick wrap up at understanding where the history of AI and where are we now versus what it's been before. For a lot of us, whether we realize it or not, we've been using AI for at least 20 years as we know it, right? If you've used Google Search or Spotify or Netflix with recommendations, right? All of the personalization, that's been around for us as users for the last 20 years. But AI has been in existence for 30 plus years, right? So I don't know if you've heard of machine learning or deep learning. Companies like Google and a lot of these recommendation engines, right, are using machine learning and deep learning. And that has been in existence for many, many years. What has changed in the last few years is now we have something called generative AI. And generative AI is something that has never been done before. This is where you can have a large language model, also known as LLMs, and you train them on the world's information. And now you can give them a prompt or an input, and it'll do its magic and it will generate something completely brand new, whether it's text or video or audio, right? And that's never been done before. So generating something from nothing, that is what generative AI is. And that is what's new. That's what, like when ChatGPT launched, they changed everything. And that is the only thing that's new. But AI has been in existence for many years. And so, like now, when we're talking about ChatGPTs and Claudes and Gemini, those are products. Those are products that use large language models to help us do the generation of whether it's video or text or audio, etc. So that is kind of the quick little history lesson for us so that we are all on the same page on what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be focusing on the generative AI aspect because that's where a lot of opportunity is now, and things that weren't possible for us are now possible. So the thing that is interesting right now is when people say AI, they could be talking about absolutely anything. And they could be talking about writing an email or building an agent, right? They're on a completely different spectrum, and it's all considered AI. So how do we reduce the confusion and really understand what is AI and how do we help it solve problems for us? Because there's a lot of hype out there, and a lot of people are so confused on what should I be doing? What is the right strategy for me, my business, for my employees, for my companies that I work with, right? From our teams. And this is what helped me kind of break down this process to help people understand. The AI ladder framework is that outlines all the different aspects of AI, and we're going to break this down step by step throughout this presentation. So think of AI ladder as a stepping stone, right? You can ascend and descend this ladder to use any of these in any combination at any given time. What you need to know is what option solves the problem that you're trying to solve in the best and the most efficient way. That is why it's so important. We're going to break down all of these and understand when to use what for different situations so that tomorrow or in 2 weeks or in 3 months, you can say, oh, you know what? This is the problem that I have. This is the tool that I should be using on this AI ladder to help me solve that specific problem. And for certain things, AI agents will be amazing. And for some of them, all you need is an AI tool, right? And so once you understand how to use this ladder and when to use what tool, that is how you can strategically use AI. And then you can understand what we're doing and what is the right strategy. So let's break this down. At the very first bottom rungs, of the first three rungs of the ladder, we have AI tools, prompting, and GPTs. These help you optimize yourself and your team's abilities with AI. They help you speed up your daily work, streamline small tasks, and supercharge your productivity. So a lot of people nowadays are using prompting and AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude and whatever other tools that you're using, right? And they help you become more productive. As you go up the ladder, you now begin to automate entire workflows and cut down on repetitive tasks and free up your time. So workflow automations, AI agents, they actually help you make decisions based on the instructions that you provide in real time and dynamically adjusting based on the specific situation. So now you're not just optimizing and having productivity gains as you do in the first three rungs of the ladder. Now you are completely eliminating manual work. That's the beauty of going up the ladder, right? Now you're eliminating things on your to-do list. And as you go to the top, we have software. That's where you can build something custom and even create new revenue streams. You can build solutions that solve internal business problems. You can scale your expertise to help others, and you can create entirely new products in the market using software. And what I want to do for the rest of the session is break down all of these, give you lots of examples so that you can understand when to use what and how to use each one of these, right? And so if there are any questions, actually, let me see. I want to bring up the chat.
I don't see anything right now.
Okay,
I think you're
just
good.
great. So if there are any questions, just drop them in the chat, and I want to run through the presentation, and if there's no questions, we can do questions at the end. But if there's something that I'm saying on the presentation that's not clear, feel free to drop that in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on it. Okay, so let's start at the bottom, AI tools. So AI tools, these are out-of-the-box AI tools that I'm talking about, and they're at the bottom because they require very little effort to set up and get started. They allow you to very quickly reap the benefits of AI because all you have to do is just create an account and you're ready to go. So I'm going to share a few of my favorite tools based on the most time-consuming functions that most businesses now have to do. Who can guess what that is? Creating content, right? So creating content, generating video, editing video, and whether you not realize this or not, every business and every person now is a media company. You have to have distribution, your own communities where you can share your own expertise. And that's why I think every person, every company is a media company now, but that's a conversation for another day, right? And so there's a lot of AI tools that you can use that help you with this process. So I'm going to share some of them. So we have getmunch.com, or Opus Clips is another one that is very similar to this. And what these allow you to do is streamline video editing. You can upload a 1-hour video of your presentation or a webinar that you did or a podcast that you did, and it will cut them into short, engaging clips, automatically extracting the most engaging moments that you can use on your YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, whatever, right? So now, like, you would have to do all of this manually, but now AI can analyze all of this and pick the most engaging moments, reformat it all for you for the right platforms, and then you just have to post, right? So that's GetMunch. Captions AI is another video tool that takes it even a step further with AI-powered editing. All you need to do is upload your footage and AI will do the rest. It will, again, I call it automagically, applies elements like zooms and B-rolls and graphics to enhance the content that you are providing. So if you have a talking head, now it can automatically pull up the graphics so the videos are more dynamic and they're moving a lot faster. It also has functionalities like you're always looking at a camera. So like if you are not really good at video and you can actually post-production, make your eyes look at the video at the camera, even though you were looking away or etc. So there's also tools like you can generate AI twins so that you don't have to appear on camera. All you have to do is just give it 5 minutes of yourself presenting or talking, and then it will generate an AI avatar for you. And the result is a fully edited video ready to share on your social media platforms. You can create ads this way, and what used to take hours of editing now happens with just a tap. In the past, you needed a whole production crew to create video. Now you just need these types of out-of-the-box apps that can help you streamline some of the things that you are doing. Was there a question? No. Okay, great. Let's keep moving. You can create a podcast without ever recording an episode. using a tool called 11 Labs. You can generate a voice of yourself talking, and it will copy your pace, your tone, etc. And all you have to do is provide a text, and it'll generate the podcast for you. Want custom visuals from just a simple idea? Use napkin.ai to instantly generate visuals from your text. The tool Nano Banana from Google Gemini is actually incredible for text, for images now. It's like the best tool out there. It's not in the presentation, but that's another one you can add. Notebook LM is another one that is great for visuals, right? There's so many tools that are out there that if you have a problem with generating visuals, you can use out-of-the-box tools to now leverage AI. Minha is asking, can you clarify what is a B-roll? B-roll is just kind of like filler video that if you're a talking head, just to keep people on their toe, there's some visual video that you can put while you're talking. This is like if you watched movies, right? So like it's you're talking and then there's some other video that you can overlay over your voice so that people are not just looking at you, but there's something happening that supports what it is that you're saying. That's called B-roll. Okay? Excellent. Okay, let's keep moving. We have AI meeting assistants. How many of you are using AI meeting assistants? If you're not, that is your very first action to do after this webinar. Go get one. They're all very similar. I'm using Fathom.video. There's Fireflies AI, Otter AI, Read AI, Granola AI. I'm sure some other one that's already been developed, right? All of these have dual purposes. Number one, they record and transcribe all of your meetings, conversations, etc. It'll keep, like in this right here, you can see one of them, created action items, key takeaways, summaries. You can go, what I do is after a conversation, I had a fractional CTO conversation where we're planning the product. We had a 3-hour meeting about all of these different things that we talked about. I can take this transcript, put it into an AI, prompt it to summarize only specific things about this feature or what we said about that feature. I can create product requirement documents from that, all of these, simply because I now have a text transcription of that conversation. If I forgot something that was said, I can ask AI against that transcription on what's happening. The other beautiful thing, besides all of these productivity gains, is you can use AI, the data that you generate from these, to help AI help you in your business, right? We're going to train AI. Those are the more advanced things that we're going to learn in the second part of the presentation, right? You can use this data to help you train AI to help you better in your business. So start generating data. AI needs data so that if you have all of these documented, now you can use something, all of these transcripts, all of this data to help AI really understand what it is that you do and build a better context about you and your business. Let's see, we have a question. Maria says, I've been impressed with Granola. Excellent. Do share your tools that you're using. So this is great. Kalipali says, in your experience, sorry if I mispronounce your name, I apologize in advance.
Calliope.
Calliope, yes. Sorry, Calliope. In your experience, which AI meeting assistant works best? I've heard that different ones have different strengths and weaknesses. And this is a great question. When people ask me what tools work best, for me, something may be amazing and I will recommend it to you and you'll be like, nah, what's so special about this, right? Because you are actually looking for something very specific. And what I do, what I tell people when you're picking tools, first make a list of what's important to you. What do you look for in a tool? If you're in a specific industry and you need, for example, HIPAA compliance or a certain type of certification, the tool that I may recommend may not have that. And so it's kind of useless. So always actually start with making a list of what's important to you and then pick tools, again, based on that and making sure that the tools that you're picking have that specific functionality. We got another question from G1. How secure are these meeting assistants if you have confidential information? So in order to find out the security and what do they do with that data, is you have to read the terms and conditions, right? And so you have to find that would be another requirement for certain people, that you have to have certain types of security. But a lot of these tools may use the training or the data that you're generating to train their AIs. And oftentimes you can turn off that setting, right? This is like in ChatGPT, it's on by default. So if you haven't turned that off and you don't want ChatGPT or Google to use your data for training purposes, you can go into the setting and turn that off. Unfortunately, they have it on by default instead of the other way around. Of course, they want our data. But you can turn all of these off. Great. Let's keep moving. We have a ton of information to cover still. So AI tool directories, there's so many tools. We can't cover them all. Future tools and AI tool directory. Those are two that I would recommend, that you can go and discover new tools. Again, the shiny tool syndrome. There's so many tools that are coming on. I would love for you to really focus on and ask, what problem am I trying to solve? Find a tool that solves that for you, and then keep using it. Just because there's another shiny tool that does something similar, 95% of it is similar, and there's only 5% of it that's different, don't switch. Keep using it until or unless that 5% really will help you elevate the experience, and maybe that's the specific thing that you were looking for. But I think right now a lot of people feel overwhelmed by all the tools that are coming out, and they feel like they have to switch every single day. And just use the tools. If they work for you, keep using them until you discover something that some other tool has. Because every time you do a switch over, right, you have to update maybe your workflow or the way you work or something. There's a cost to switching, and don't feel like you need to. Let's see. Rafa is saying, in many jurisdictions, recording a conversation requires consent from all of your participants. Automatic recording by an AI note taker may inadvertently violate. Yes, so this is a great point, Rafa. Every single time an AI tool records something, there is usually a notification. And so I've used Fathom.video, and if I add it to my meeting, it'll actually send an email to my meeting participants and ask them to opt out if they don't want a recording, right? And oftentimes, a lot of people see in the meetings the AI assistants. If they object, then of course you have to turn it off or not use it. But yes, you have to ask for permission. Granola does run in the background, and so that one is a little bit shadier. And in general, before you record people, you have to ask for permission. I think in the United States, I think Indiana is the only one that has an open protocol. I just discovered this yesterday from a client of mine. All right, let's keep moving. We have a lot more stuff to cover. Okay, prompt engineering will unlock the true potential of LLMs. How many of you have heard of prompt engineering? I think most of us, right? Like, we use a lot of these tools. It is a critical skill for interacting with AI systems and unlocking its true potential. Let's actually learn how they work. LLMs, large language models, they don't actually think or learn from data like humans do. All they do is they're trained on a bunch of data, but they now become prediction machines. I always say LLMs are the best, most sophisticated autocomplete, right? They're just guessing machines. So when you upload, this is how it works. When you upload a bunch of documents and ask for something through a prompt, that prompt is your input into the large language model. And what that does is tell the LLMs to learn. I'm putting it in quotes because it's not actually learning. It's not absorbing knowledge. I just gave myself balloons. This is my camera. It's not telling the LLM to absorb the knowledge like a human does. What it tells the LLM is to build a context map so that it can better predict the next word or phrase. So it predicts your output based on this context map. So to get better and more valuable inputs or outputs, what do you need to provide the LLM? Type your answer in the chat. To get a really good output, what do you need to provide an LLM? It's not a tricky question. The answer is right on the slide. Better context, better prompts, exactly. Specific questions. You guys are input, exactly. You are on it, right? So that's how it works. That's why prompt engineering, you have to be specific, concise. You have to give it really good context. And because the model can only guess based on what you provide. And we just talked about conversations and data that we need to be able to train our LLMs to help us better. And the way we do that is by providing data. The LLMs can build better context maps about what it is that we're asking it to do. And that's why prompt engineering is such an important and foundational knowledge to unlocking to the real power of AI. So I'm going to share one of my favorite prompting framework. It's called AWE, and AWE is really really great. So I don't know if you've ever bought prompts or if somebody said, I have 1,000 prompts that I'm going to give it to you for free. And if you use the AWE prompt framework, you never ever have to buy a prompt, because what it does is you tell it who to act. Here's an example as I'm going to be talking so you can see what I'm talking about. Who to act as, who is it for, what you needed to do, right? Again, giving the context, the specifics, what it is. And then this is the key. What do you need from me to complete this task? So this is what's going to give you and your LLM this partner relationship, where the LLM is going to ask for X, Y, and Z. And then if the very first time you spend 10 to 15, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes an hour of interaction with AI and getting the exact thing that you need, then guess what you're going to do? This is the super hack. You're going to say, what is the exact prompt I would have to give you the next time to get this exact result? And guess what you're going to get? You're going to get the exact prompt that you then should copy and paste and put it into your prompt library. Who here has a prompt library? If you don't, that's your second thing you're going to have to do after this webinar, is to start a prompt library. Because what does that do? The next time you need to do this exact same task, you're not going to spend 30 minutes or an hour working with AI to get to that output. You already did that. You can just go directly to the prompt, paste it, and if you modify the prompt by working it again, you can update the prompt, but now you're managing your prompt library instead of doing that work over and over and over again. Great. You can also, Astrid says, you can ask for that in the personalization page. Always ask for prompt to use the next time. Yes, exactly. Does that make sense? So that's why you should never buy prompts from other people. You can create prompts that work directly for you. Sherry's asking, where do you store your prompts? In a prompt library. So anywhere, any kind of storage system. I use Notion as my storage system. So I have a Notion database for prompts only, right? And I can categorize them and find them there. I have a really great prompt library by now. Okay, And then Susan is asking, shouldn't the AI remember if you've done this task before? No, unfortunately, AI forgets everything all the time, and you have to continuously give it the prompt or context over and over and over again, sometimes even within the same conversation, right? So oftentimes, because the memory is very short, you want to be able to provide context over and over and over again. So it doesn't remember what it is that you do unless you have knowledge base that you give it. Okay, you give it knowledge base, then it has a context, but these are prompts and they don't get saved. Minka is asking, what is Notion? Notion is a uh, it's a tool that you can do pretty much anything with. It's you can build a CRM with it. It's basically a document storage place, but you can build websites with it. You can create any type of database on the fly. And so that's what I use for as an operating system for myself, my business, etc. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. Custom GPTs. Now, custom GPTs, how many of you use custom GPTs? Custom GPTs will allow you to tailor your AI based on your business needs. Okay, so GPTs have a not much narrower focus that will allow you to give a lot better results, because instead of the LLM using the world's information, you tell it to use only a subset of the documents or the knowledge base that you provided. Okay, so you're narrowing its focus, and it gets better over time because it continues to build better context from you. Okay, and you can also seamlessly connect to third-party services using your own databases and APIs. So let's break this down. I'll share an example of one of the GPTs that I've created. Facebook Ad Genius, I called it, right? And it will provide Facebook ad text and images for a detailed and critique it, right, for suggestions for improvements. So what did I do? So by the way, GPTs are a functionality of Chat GPT, okay? So you would need that to be able to create these. Provide name, description. There's two things here that you need to pay attention to. The prompt, right? Because prompt is how we interact with LLMs. Without the prompt, we can't talk to the LLM. Right here is where we have knowledge. Do you see that? Here is where I uploaded the best performing Facebook ads, all the different styles of images that I like, maybe information about my company, etc. Right? So this is the knowledge base that I'm actually feeding it. And then we, at the bottom here, can connect it to third-party services. We'll talk about the third-party services in a second. But basically, you can create this. So now once I create the GPT, I can upload an ad that I'm thinking about, or I can ask it to write me one based on the information that I've provided it. So you can create a company persona GPT, a sales proposal GPT, a content writer GPT, sales meeting preparation GPT, marketing guru GPT, anything that you're doing, you can create a narrow focused GPT that can help you do that work over and over and over again. And this is the beauty of it. There is no coding required. You just structure your information, you plug it in, and now you have trained your own little model based on the knowledge that you give it. Again, it's powerful because there's no coding involved. Okay, so now this is a the prompting framework that I use for GPTs. It's called Craft, right? It allows you to create context, role, action, format, target audience. Just gives you, it's a very long prompt. It's much longer than when we're interacting with LLMs in just when we're working as partners. And this is one that I found that works really well. And guess what? I have a GPT that helps me create prompts in the Craft framework so that I don't have to do all of that work. Does that make sense? So you can train all of these over and over and over again. Okay, now let's talk about custom GPT actions. Custom GPT actions are what going to allow you to for the GPT to interact with data that is stored on third-party platforms. Who can tell me as a bonus point? Who can tell me as a bonus point what helps these services talk together? What helps these services talk together? MCP, exactly. Yes, Kelly. What's another one? That's the traditional one. So MCP is a new protocol. Exactly, Astrid. API. APIs are the glue, right? The glue behind all of this. It allows services to talk to each other. MCP, Roxanne, is a new protocol that is very similar to API that Claude that is somebody created and invented, and now they're trying to make it popular. But APIs are still much more popular than MCPs. MCPs are relatively new, okay, but they do something very similar. Okay, so let's break this down. If you, let's say, have your documents in Google Drive, your customer support in Zendesk, or your own relational database, right? Let's say you sell products, and now you can have search and retrieve of live information. You can have access to internal documents and provide real-time insights inside your GPT. So it's not actually only working on your static knowledge base, but it actually has real-time access, and all you have to do is maintain your documents, and now you have up-to-date information. So with custom GPT actions, your GPT goes from just answering questions to executing real business operations in real time, making it a lot smarter. Okay? So far, we've gone through AI tools, prompting, GPTs to help you optimize yourself and your team's ability. Again, this is all about productivity gains. Now let's go up a step further, right? Now we're going to talk about workflow automations to help you streamline, optimize, and scale yourself. Now, how many of you have heard of tools like Zapier and Make? Yeah, a lot of us have, because these tools have existed for the last 15, 20 years, right? Zapier and Make, again, using APIs, allow different services to talk to each other and send data back and forth. So let's look at an example of what was possible 10 years ago through Zapier. You always have in an automation a trigger, something that starts the automation. So in this case, when a customer buys something, we're going to trigger, like this is a Stripe purchase. New customer buys something, you can create an automation that will add the user to your mailing list. You can tag the user so that they start to receive information, an email sequence based on a specific product that they bought. You can also use a tool called Lead Score to obtain information about your customers. So this is lead enrichment. Using the email address, they will get information like what business they work for, what country they're in, how many employees the company has, etc. Right? And then now it's a little bit smarter. You can save that information to a spreadsheet, but also use this information to say something like this. If someone signs up from a company with more than 50 employees, send me an email that so that I can follow up with them, because they are a high value customer for my business. And better yet, instead of sending me an email, or in addition to sending me an email, create a card in my project management tool so that the stuff won't fall through the cracks and I won't forget to reply to the email. All of this would have been done completely automatically without any human intervention. You just have to set it up one time, and then it will run over and over and over and over again. Every single time you get a new customer, this automation would run. But believe it or not, these types of automations could be set up for many years. But what's now possible as a result of AI is transformational. So let's look at some examples. Here we have a fully automated lead generation and enrichment workflow that combines traditional automation with AI. So everywhere here that you see a green icon, the ChatGPT icon, this is where we see an LLM in the middle of a workflow. Everywhere you see the ChatGPT icon, guess what? In the past, a human would have to do that work. Now we're outsourcing it to an AI. Now we can do a lot more with these automations because we can have them do the analysis, the interpretation, whatever we need them to do, instead of a human doing it. And who can tell me, how do we get these LLMs to work for us? What is the process? It starts with a P. Type your answer in the chat. Let's see if you guys have been paying attention. What is the process for us to interact? Exactly, Alexandra, you get a high five and an extra bonus because you were the first one. Yes, prompts, right? We need to be able to connect the service, and through a prompt, we're telling the LLM what we needed to do. Excellent. Do you guys understand? Does that make sense? So let's look at some more examples. You can generate entire blog posts here. So this one is AI processing information multiple times to produce higher quality content. And one AI does one thing, passes it on to another one, and another one, and another one, right? Here's another example of a workflow automation for social media posting. This one is pretty extensive, connecting multiple platforms and scheduling posts automatically. I share these examples to help spark some ideas of what's possible. Okay? So hopefully this is exciting to you. Now let's go and talk about AI agents. This is where your business can completely be on autopilot. Let's look at some examples. So here we have a workflow built in a tool called N8N. It's very similar to Zapier and Make, but it's a little bit more advanced in what it can do. This is what this automation does. It auto labels the email drafts from that are incoming for all the incoming emails, right? So a new email comes in, it passes through a text classifier, which is just a little bit of AI magic that instantly categorizes your emails into the buckets that you define. So you define the buckets, right? And then it will automatically do its work. The key here is that the AI itself is deciding the route each email should take based on its email's content. It's not a hard-coded decision tree. It's AI-driven logic. The AI is doing the routing based on real-time interpretation of the data. And a lot of people will look at this and they'll say, that's an AI agent. But in fact, this is just a smart workflow automation. I call it dynamic automation. Okay? This is not an AI agent because it is still a predefined flow. We had to map out the pathways ahead of time, and the AI can only go down the paths we've created. Okay, that's why, and it's not an agent. An AI agent is something completely different. AI agents don't follow a path, they create the path. An AI agent is a system that uses large language models to dynamically decide what actions to take, in what order, and which tools to use. Do you understand the difference between smart automations and AI agents? So let's break this down a little bit more. You need to provide an agent three things: a model, right, that will drive its thinking, its understanding. You need to give it memory, which then now gives it a place where to store the context for past interactions so that it can inform the decisions that it's making. And then you give it tools. These could be APIs, external systems, custom applications that it can actually call to do something. And after that, it's all AI. Let's actually look at an example. So here you have an AI agent that functions like an intelligent chat assistant. So think of like a dentist office, right? They could have this on their website. So in this case, a user will send a message like, hey, can you book me a meeting for Monday, December 16th, or whatever, today's what, Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. Right? The AI agent will not just follow a rigid path. That's what we used to do back in the chat, like back in the days when we had chat options. You had to map out all of the different scenarios in order for this to work. Now, the AI agent is just a smart model. There's no paths. And so when the user asks for a specific date, based on its own logic, it'll need to understand that it needs to check if the date is available. Right? That is now the model. It needs to understand what to do, right? After that, to call the Google Calendar API to check to see if the data is available. That's the tool. It'll also need to know and be smart enough to ask for the start and end time because the user didn't provide that, right? That's the model. It'll also need to understand that it needs to use tools like email and back again to the calendar to be able to book the time and send the confirmation email to the customer. All of this happens without a pre-mapped workflow. The agent will decide what to call, right? Which tools to call and which tasks need to be executed in real time. And that's why AI agents are game changing. You're not just automating tasks, you're enabling true intelligent decision making in real time. AI agents are incredibly powerful, but they're still come with a lot of trade-offs that make them less ideal for mission critical business processes right now. There's still a lot of unpredictability, right? Unlike traditional flows, agents make real-time decisions, which introduces variability versus what we need in the business process is predictability. Okay? They have high error rates, and if there is a problem, right, you have a lot of debugging challenges because you don't really understand how they make the decision. There's no way to know how they made that decision. The logic is completely generated dynamically. And there's also hallucinations. How many of you have heard of the word hallucination? Yeah, so hallucination is just simply AI making stuff up. And so when you have a high stakes process, you don't want to use AI agents in this case, right? So that's why at the beginning I said, always ask, what problem am I trying to solve? And is this specific situation, like we're talking about agents, is for my specific situation, is AI agent the right thing to do? The answer may be no. AI agents are amazing, right? And they can be used in a lot of different, I'll show you some examples of AI agents that I personally use, right? A lot for marketing and sales and doing a lot of the work that you don't necessarily need to do, like research and finding leads and generating content, etc., right? And then getting you 80% there, but then you can finish the next 20%, the human in the loop type of process. Okay? Again, mission critical situations, I wouldn't use AI agents. So how do you get started with automations? How many of you think automations are exciting, something that you need to maybe focus on? How many of you think it's still daunting, right? A lot of people probably have a feeling of a mix of both, right? The idea of cutting down repetitive tasks and reclaiming your time is a game changer. But the reality is you cannot automate chaos. If your business processes are messy, disorganized, or undefined, which is where most people function, believe it or not, I'm a fractional CTO and I've seen all kinds of stuff, even in big organizations. So don't feel bad if you're a small organization and it seems like you are all over the place, right? You need to be able to first fix your processes, right? Define your processes, eliminate inefficiencies, and then standardize your operations. If you have a mess, AI will amplify that mess a lot faster. Okay, so when you start this process, you have to first start at the beginning and build something what I call a process map. Okay, the process map here will give you a bird's eye view of every step, every decision point, every handoff in your business process. This is where you can identify the bottlenecks, clean up inefficiencies, and then decide where automation will fit best. Here you can see every single detail. In phase one, we define how the data will be captured to establish a clean and organized entry point for data. In phase two, we define how the content will be processed, structured, and refined to automate the heavy lifting of content creation with structured, repeatable steps. And in phase three, we have the human in the loop to make sure that we have quality assurance so that everything you can catch the errors, adjust for nuance, make sure everything aligns with your brand voice and before you publish, right? This is what is necessary to be able to effectively plan automations and actually achieve something that will make a difference in your business. Most people just jump in and they start doing, but without the planning, you're going to go in the wrong direction 10 times faster, right? And this is what's going to allow you to determine, once you have the map, the entire process mapped out, what could and what should be automated. Just because something can be automated doesn't mean it should be. And guess what? AI is moving so fast. Right now, you maybe created one plan, but then 6 months later, something new comes out. You'd be like, oh, very clearly on the map, you can see this step now can be optimized using this new thing that I can do, right? Well, once you have everything visual communication, you can very clearly see how you can optimize these over time. Okay, great. So we've climbed up the AI ladder. We now are going to get into software. Software is at the top because building custom software gives you the power to do all of these. Optimize your team's abilities with AI, eliminate repetitive tasks entirely, and also create new revenue streams. Custom software will allow you to solve problems in your business and productize your expertise and scale it to serve others. So let's look at some examples. If you're a marketer, right, and you want to build a custom dashboard, now, instead of going to IT and begging them to do all this stuff, if you know how to use Lovable and Replit and Bold, some of the AI coding tools, you don't have to wait anymore. You can build the exact dashboard that you want, tailored to your exact workflow. This is the key. Tailored to your exact workflow. You don't have to buy some software and then adjust your workflow to how they work. You can create something and solve a problem just for yourself. If you're in sales, you can do the same thing. And let's say you use HubSpot as your CRM, but you need a specific report that HubSpot doesn't provide. You can use make.com and create a smart automation that will pull all of the data in exactly generate exactly the report that you need, even though HubSpot doesn't provide it. You can do that as a non-technical person who is in sales, right? That's the beauty of what's possible right now. And finally, I want to share this example from one of my TechSpeak students. She is a financial planner, like in services. She works with high-end clients and gives them detailed financial plans, 12-month financial plans. But she also had a lower end clientele who couldn't afford to work with her. So, and they wanted some guidance, right? They wanted these financial plans, but they couldn't pay her rate. So she decided to build an app that was completely powered. The entire backend is built in make.com, one of the automation tools that we were talking about, right? So this is how she did it. She created a landing page that would lead users to pay for the service. Then she would use a survey tool to collect the data, business data information that she needed. And this is the automation that she plugged in, that she, of course, had to write the exact prompt to generate the report that she, using her knowledge, right? And she had the LLM do that, and then use the email to email the user the report. Now she could charge for her expertise, and all of this is done completely automatically. She didn't have to build this tool from scratch. If she took this to an agency, they would have charged her $50,000 to $100,000 to build this custom. That's the power of what is possible today. All right, so let's wrap up. How do we learned all of this stuff right here with AI tools, prompt engineering, custom GPTs, workflow automations, AI agents, and software. You should ascend or descend this ladder to use any of these in any combination to strategically help you solve the specific problems you're trying to solve in the best and most efficient way. The real magic is knowing when to use each option and when you should combine them to unlock exponential growth, right? This is what I would love for you guys to learn and continue to do in 2026. So the question that I want to leave you with is this: what would it mean for you and your business if you had systems running in the background powered by automations and AI, giving you back 10 to 15 or even 20 hours a week? I want you to write this down right now, because that is what's possible. And if you go into 2026 with this mindset, I just like, that's what's exciting for me, right? And this is why I launched the cohort that Sherry was talking about, Chaos to Clarity in 6 weeks. In week 1, we start at the beginning. I help you map your core business processes. In week 2, we'll look at those and figure out how to optimize them and where AI fits in. And I give you all the tools that you will need, prompts and generating prompts to help you speed up all of this process. And then we learn the language of automations, so that this is geared towards non-technical people. This is my specialty. I love teaching non-technical people how to do this stuff. And then I'm going to teach you the language so that you can, even if you don't ever do this yourself and you have to hire someone else, now you're speaking their language. I'm also going to teach you how to build these workflows. Even if you're going to hire someone else to do it, now you know that they can't take advantage of you. Because if somebody comes into you and they say, this is going to take 3 months to do, you're like, dude, I already know I can do this in 2 days, right? And so that's how you can catch them in, and even if you're working with someone else. But I love to teach people how to do it. Even if you're not going to do it yourself, there's a ton of benefit to do this. Week 5, we're learning how to build agents and customize agents. These are the 4 agents that you're going to get, all related. These are the ones that I'm going to actually give you, and I'm going to teach you how to customize them for yourself. Again, a lot with leads, sales, and marketing. This is where you can learn about agents. In just 1 week, you're going to deploy 1 agent. And again, for those of you who are interested, I'd love to have you in the cohort. It starts January 19th. And there is a special discount code that we offered to your organization here. The code is HBSWA. And I don't know if, Sherry, you can drop the links in the chat for the registration link. There's $100 off to the community. And of course, there's a charitable donation that I would love to extend to the organization for everyone who registers through the organization.
Yep, we just dropped the link. So everybody, it's right there and love to have you. I'm going to be in the class. I would love to have a bunch of you guys with me.
Excellent. So if there's any questions, I know we're a little bit over time. Sorry I went over.
No,
Uh,
you were great.
I'm happy to stay a few minutes later and answer any questions that did we miss
Yeah,
anything?
there's one I see from JC there.
JC,
Everybody, you're welcome to stay. But go ahead, JC. Do you see that one, Nellie?
yep, I do. So I'm going to read it first. JC with this says, with the speed of new AI products coming out, how do we stress test new options, reliable sources for learning about new options on the market? So JC, there's a lot of stuff that's coming out. And I think like at post the cohort, I'm going to create the community where we can all learn from each other. There's so many tools, but I think the key is not to just because something exists doesn't necessarily mean that you have to implement it, right? There, you have to understand what's possible. So sometimes, like this is what I do. I had consumed so much information just so that I know what's possible. And I doesn't just because I know it's possible, doesn't I don't just run into my business and say, I gotta go and implement this. I always say, what problems do I have to solve? And then now that I know what's possible, I whenever I need it, I can go and look up that tool. And that's when I will start to implement it. But if you want to be strategic and not get overwhelmed and burned out by AI and all, because the field is moving faster than anything I've ever seen, right? And I've gone through the first, like the internet boom. It's never moved this fast, okay? And so you can let it overwhelm you, or you can let it help you solve problems. And if you're in your business solving the problems and everything is working, you don't need to change anything, right? You just need to learn about what's possible. And then when you have a problem for that specific use case, you can look at that tool. Okay. Hopefully, I don't know if JC that answers your question, but feel free to type a follow-up. Calliope says this was asked earlier in the chat. Do custom GPTs respect password and or privacy settings for documents that have been stored with password protection? Absolutely. So they're using the same methodologies that Make.com and Zapier use to communicate, right? So you will use that other tools username and password, and they would just ask a connection request, basically, just like an API integration, but they're not ever sharing the passwords. So yes, hopefully that helps. You are welcome, Deborah. Um, you
Yeah,
are welcome, everybody. So there's a bunch of thank yous. I don't know if I missed any questions.
no, there's so far it looks like everybody's just like really marveling at what you just did, Nellie. I mean, to take such a complex topic and condense it into something manageable for us to logically think this through. Thank you so, so much. It was just an amazing session. And you can tell by all the comments, everybody's just really enjoying it. Nellie, I want to thank you so, so much for this incredible, incredible session. We all learned so much. I want more and more of it. But I really encourage everybody to join Nellie and me on January 19th. Great session coming up. It's a real wonderful opportunity to learn this and roll up your sleeves and really
Yeah,
figure it out.
I just want to emphasize that it's going to be me guiding you to actually do the work that you need to do. So it's not like I'm consuming this information and we're going to be implementing. Every week, there's going to be at the beginning a learning session, and then you're going to be implementing everything for the full week. And then on Friday, we're going to have a show and tell where you're going to show your work. You're going to learn from other people's work. You can actually execute for the next 6 weeks. And that's why I'm so excited to kick it off in January, because it's the new year. It'll set you up for success in 2026 if you do this work. Like that's why I'm so excited, and I'd love to work with you.
I'm excited too. I think it's going to be fantastic. So join and let's see. People are asking if the webinar will be available for people who couldn't join today. Yes, I think we should be able to do that. Alexi or Brooke, you'll make that available, I'm sure.
Yes,
The members.
yes, we did record it and it should be available by the end of this week, if not beginning of next week on the YouTube
Great.
channel.
Great. Again, Nellie, amazing, amazing job. And everybody wants you back. I can see they want part two, but I would say just join January 19th. And then maybe we can have you back as well another time. Nellie, you're wonderful. You're adopted. We love you. So
I would
keep
be
staying
happy
with
to.
us.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks for staying over, everybody. It was really great. And Nellie, thanks again.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Bye,
Happy
everyone.
holidays.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Great